Hello. Hi guys. Thank you for joining the live stream. Good evening. And I hope the audio is coming fine. And time for my weekly apology for not coming live enough. I really miss the live streams whenever I stop doing it because it's the Durga Pujas are coming up and lots of music projects going on. So let me check some comments. Then we'll start reacting to this live stream where three guys, I have not listened to any of their other content. Just some people have been recently commenting that they reacted they did a live reaction video of some Deepak interview with Beer Bicep, and they debunked him sort of. Let's us also analyze and live react to it, and we will check out what were their arguments against Deepak. So for that we are doing this today, and there were three people involved. I think three of them are separately different YouTubers and influencers in their own right as well. So it's fun to not know their background. So I'll be taking their arguments at their face value and not claim anything else about them. So that will be more fruitful. Okay. And I have not watched the interview fully. I just gave a rough viewing up till about half, I think. So that's the extent of my preparation for this live stream. That I've kept some thoughts simmering in my head. That's all. And let me just check some comments first. Dharma Adhyatma. The claim about Newton and Leibniz advancing calculus is forwarded by Neobudh and woke YouTube scientist. The book is Science Western in Origin by Dr. C.K. Raju. Dr. C.K. Raju's new video that Aryabhat actually developed calculus before Kerala school should be watched. By the way, Leibniz wrote a whole book defending idiotic Christian position, Theodicy, Prob of Evil. Coming to Meghnerd, that guy is funny leftist who forwarded Kanhaiya Kumar's dumbest argument that CAA should be protested as NRC is kind of added there. That is just his justification about rant. By his own logic, NRC should be protested as Hindus were affected in Assam. Then he did not answer why CAA was protested. Typical apologetic style answer by that Meghnerd. Coming to Vimoh, he is the funniest character to randomly vomit about fallacy. Though I do not agree with the Dharma Samrat Karpatri Maharaj on many things, but his Marxvad or Samrajya Nastik Vada, Astik Vada are answers to Vimoh's typical objections on theology and religion. Vimoh claimed to be one of right-wing and suddenly woke up and enlightened and became leftist cabal atheist, not Charvaka even. I see. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I was telling to Abhay Agarwal and some other people from Kolkata one day, that just because a lot of youngsters are today thinking that they are part of the right wing in some way or the other, and it does not mean that they will remain so forever. Okay, let them turn 25 and 30 and then we will see their ideas fully fleshed out in their mind, and then we will have to notice what side they choose. Vimoh is okay. Late jiyad hoye gache, yes. Okay, they know it very well. Okay, dada tumi rajnitite dhuke jao, ekdomই না. The question is that why right wing is not able to generate enough followers through their counter. Yeah. Hi bhai, Pramod here, long time. Oh yeah, long time bro. How are you? Brahmanical patriarchy wing. Yes. Okay, let's start the live stream. We are not going to do it at 1.25x, okay, because they speak pretty fast anyway.
Hate me for what I say. They have a lot of people hate me for what I say. They have absolutely no personal equations with me whatsoever. So it's not as if I've done any personal harm or good for them to form an opinion one way or the other. So clearly what are they hating? What I represent or what I stand for, at least what I claim to stand for. I would apply that logic to a significant extent to Mr. Modi. Most people don't know Mr. Modi on a first-hand basis. So what is it that they are hoping, or what is it that they are actually channeling their anger towards? He, according to them, represents the crystallization of Hindutva at the highest level possible. Political Hindutva. Which is to say where state power is openly Hindu. Allow me to say this, and this is my biggest criticism both of the left as well as the government establishment. They are first of all not Hindu enough. These guys have made them look Hindu thanks to their criticism.
So first he said, everybody hates him for what he stands for. Then he conflated it to include Mr. Modi somehow and said that is exactly why people hate Narendra Modi also, because nobody knows him personally. And then he went on to essentially talk about how the BJP is not right enough for him.
The prefacing of why people hate him, he initially said, hey, I don't know anyone personally. He didn't need to say that at all. Like, nobody. See, I've never met either of you personally. What I don't like about you, if I don't like something about you, is obviously going to be whatever you represent. So, him actually saying that, I felt was redundant.
It's not like
No, it was not redundant. There was one very specific reason. What this guy just said is kind of right as well. That anytime you criticize someone, or why is my thing lagging? Wait, yeah, it's working now. Yeah. So anytime anyone criticizes a well-known personality, it's for what they stand and not them personally, unless we know of some specific wrong thing they have done in their personal life. Okay, so fair enough, that argument is fair enough. But even then, why I would say Deepak making this point is justified is because of there is one very specific reason in this case why people hate Deepak or Narendra Modi. It's not like just any random celebrity being hated by any random normal person, okay? Which is the layer of coloniality, which is your upbringing in a post-colonial society, which has barely just about survived mass conversion, which has happened each and everywhere on planet Earth, okay? South America, North America, Europe, everywhere. Abrahamic faiths have taken over in places where there were no Abrahamic faiths until 2000 years ago, okay? So, a society which has survived that and barely survived that, okay, will react to these things a little differently. So, what Deepak wanted to point out here was that Narendra Modi would probably not be hated as much if he wore a cool suit and tie or spoke great English, okay? I'm sure you all personally know NRIs. I know NRIs who specifically criticized Narendra Modi mispronouncing that one word in the US Congress just a few months back. Meanwhile, these same NRIs, especially from San Francisco, are voting for people like Joe Biden who can't put together one sentence properly. Their senator for all these years in San Francisco was Dianne Feinstein, who was 90 years old, passed away just, I think, last week. She was basically senile. When she sat down to testify in front of the Congress, some of her assistants had to behave like a nurse for her, and they would blurt out in her ears that say yes, say no to this. She was basically a dead woman walking, and even then these people were voting for Dianne Feinstein and they are voting for Joe Biden. Meanwhile, they hate Narendra Modi with all their guts, without knowing pretty much anything about Narendra Modi's policy positions, okay? And I'm not criticizing them for not knowing anything about policy positions, because most people in the world, in most countries, don't follow politics day in and day out all the time, okay? They just read basic some two headlines, they get a vibe of the person. So what is the vibe about Deepak and Narendra Modi that's making you hate him, okay? That is their Hinduness. That is them doing puja part, Deepak having a vibhuti on his head, Narendra Modi speaking in Hindi everywhere. Okay, these are the reasons for them being hated, and that needs to be pointed out. It's not just me hating Virat Kohli for some reason. There is a very dark, stark reason for hating these people, and that absolutely needs to be brought out and criticized.
like everybody's
And
meeting.
there's a layer of love for Bollywood as well, because Bollywood has absolutely hammered this in our heads that who is a nice pastor, who is a reverend, okay? It's a nice, peace-loving, nicely talking, polite guy who always wears a clean white clothes or robes and is always nice to everyone, okay? Who is a Muslim chacha? He's a hard-working, nice, well-spoken, polite man who is a devout Hindu with a tilak. It's either a dumb fuck who has no relevance in current society and is blurting out things in Sanskrit which everyone is laughing at, or he's an absolutely evil, vile person. And these are the things that have contributed to people hating people like Narendra Modi and Deepak without any reason. So it's not the same as anyone hating Virat Kohli or Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and that needs to be pointed out.
Deepak in person. वैसे nobody knows Narendra Modi because he's the freaking prime minister, man. I mean, how many people know him personally? 50 people know him personally in the entire universe. So can we not have any opinion on him at all?
I receive messages about Deepak from people, and
No, you can have an opinion on them, and we also can have an opinion on why your opinion is absolutely bullshit.
it's primarily two types of people, and neither of them actually hate him. Right? One group is like, hey, what's your opinion about this guy? He said this. And the other group is, why don't you debate Deepak? For the second answer is like, why he didn't come to me? You came to me. You're here. I'm here. Let's talk. Why are you organizing a debate with a third person? And secondly, this thing about why people hate me because of what I stand for is a rather hackneyed, because we see this all the time. You call someone out for something and they say, Hinduo par hamla, ya Musalmano par hamla. Instantly, one person, in order to defend himself, becomes the entire category that he represents. No.
Oh, yeah. Category. There's another word for it, guys. It's called group identity. And is it really their case that group identity should not be a significant demarcating factor in India? If that is the case, fair enough. I have a fellow individualist libertarian with me here. But let's not live in a fool's paradise and imagine that the country is anywhere remotely close to getting away from group identity, okay? Our politics runs on group identity almost solely. You just dislike the group identity Deepak is bringing about. You would maybe prefer some other group identity. Other than that, there would be no question of even criticizing BJP for having anti-Muslim laws. No, there are no anti-Muslim laws, first of all. And even if they were, prove me where one individual Muslim was hated. And even if was hated or discriminated against, that's just his individual problem. It's not a group identity problem. So first of all, we need to decide whether we are going to be in favor of designating the entire group with one person. And more importantly, which group are we going to put them in? Is it their religion? Is it their caste? Is it their level of wealth, level of income, gender? What? Or are we going to go full intersectionalism? Okay. So let's not assume anyone in India is really against group identity. So as long as people are in favor of group identity for everything they do, these things will also happen.
One is the entire thing that they represent. Deepak's actions are visible. Narendra Modi's actions are visible. It's not like they're hypothetical entities in our head. We see the government passing laws, the Prime Minister is held responsible for it. We see Deepak say something, he will be held responsible for it. He'll at least get some feedback about it, right? So I don't understand their obsession with, why are people hating me so much? You see this with Americans already.
I just explained that, okay? So we have completed this particular point at least.
Why does the world hate us? Because we are so powerful. We saw this with...
Yes, some people do hate the USA just because they're powerful. Is it his case that no one hates USA just because of them being powerful? Of course, there are legitimate reasons to dislike American government's policies. But commies, most of all, hate USA just because they are powerful, just because they are successful, just because they have a prosperous society. Yes, it's not a fascinating and unbelievable fact or point that he brought out. People do hate USA just because they are powerful.
That vlogger who made that thing about Yagya's flying beast guy. People gave feedback saying, hey, this is stupid. He said, you look, they're just jealous of my huge subscriber base. Like completely bypassing the actual reason and settling on something else entirely.
This is my biggest criticism, both of the left as well as the government establishment. They are first of all not Hindu enough. Look Hindu, thanks to their criticism. Because the question that you should be asking is, if a particular government is either pro or anti, the test is what? Policy.
Okay guys, RSB is saying that Are Dada started, you are late by 17 minutes. Guys, RSB, the live stream has started, I'm going on, okay? Maybe refresh your YouTube. I started, I think, 5 minutes late.
What has it done? Look Hindu, thanks to their criticism. Because the question that you should be asking is, if a particular government is either pro or anti, the test is what? Policy. What has it done?
Pro, anti, Hindu.
Correct. So you should ask a question, the question is, what has it done for Hindus to say that he's pro-Hindu? What has he done against Muslims for someone to say he's anti-Muslim? That question is never asked. So it's empty opinions being aired in the form of angst without data or evidence.
Yeah, so that's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. Because
Y'all can see the live stream, right? RSB, can you see it now?
Because when he says that they're not Hindu enough, that is his personal opinion. There are plenty of people who think they're Hindu enough. There are plenty of people who might think that Deepak is not Hindu enough. There are plenty of people who might think that nobody can be Hindu enough. And it's literally the embodiment of the no true Scotsman fallacy. If
Okay. What's exactly the criticism here? That he gave out his personal opinion in a podcast where he was invited to give his personal opinion. What's the criticism here?
If you just use a vague categorization like Hindu, where is the criteria that will decide, yeah, this is Hindu enough? He's just giving his personal opinion.
No, there is no distinct category. It is just people in a chaotic situation conversing with each other that you are Hindu enough and you are not Hindu enough, and someone saying that no, this guy is actually Hindu enough, this guy is not Hindu enough. And that's the beauty of our society, and that's why we were one of the reasons that we were not converted willy-nilly, because they could not find one single leader to kill off, or one single deity to discard and then convert the rest of the masses. No, it's multiple deities, multiple leaders, and that's why you can't handle this beast called Hindu society.
Also, he spoke about data and evidence. We have lots of data and evidence for them being anti-Muslim or being pro-Hindu.
Someone might say that the ruling party is sitting ministers giving hate speeches against minority religious people in favor of Hindus. Someone else is totally able to say that, no, that's going too far. And someone else might say,
No, Deepak specified that it's the policy that is the test, not random dialogue bazi or hate speech by any BJP politician. First of all, it's not something most Hindus would probably agree with, that yes, bahut acha kiya hate speech karke. Second of all, it doesn't even get us anything. It doesn't even get you anything in policy. So it's in fact a bigger problem if you just give out hate speeches, which most people don't even want, and at the same time don't even bring out any policy. So it's absolutely not acceptable to just give out hate speeches or to give out hate speeches at all. Okay, we are talking about specifically about policies, and let's not be ambiguous about it. Deepak very specifically mentioned that it is about policy. It is not about speeches.
say no, it's not going far enough. So at the end of the day, it's purely subjective. When he's talking about data and evidence, it has no meaning at all, because unless the criteria is set, how do we decide what is data and what does that data mean?
Let's say a minister.
The data is the policy, some policy where you can clearly say that yes, this is just and just for Hindus. Just like we have some policies which are just for Muslims and Christians. Some policies which are just for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes who are also Hindu, but people calling for those policies don't think they are Hindu. And even some people who think they are Hindu also think they need reservations, etc. But there are definite specific policies for definite specific groups in Indian society and in the country called Bharat, okay? But there are no such policies specifically for Hindus. And that would have been the test to say that yes, this government is very pro-Hindu in terms of them being a government. State-wise, state policy-wise, they are a Hindu state or a Hindu government, and there have been no such policies.
Goes and garlands rapists or garlands people who were in communal riots, right? Then if there is a person who is minister who is going out and giving hate speeches, or an elected representative giving hate speeches, they are somewhat a part of the government machinery and BJP machinery, so we can still say that that is direct evidence that there are people within the BJP who have an anti-Muslim, anti-minority stand. But what usually happens...
Okay, let's remember Udayanidhi Stalin here, okay? And based on that context, let's move forward.
Is that there are more egregious cases, lynchings, cow
lynchings happen because cows are a source of bread and butter for most poor people in the country, especially poor Hindus in the country. Why is my stream lagging today? I have no idea. Anyway, I hope the audio is not lagging, right? So anyway, cow lynchings don't happen because of religion. Cow lynchings happen because some people from some religions think that I can steal this cow and sell it off somewhere else. Meanwhile, the people it's being stolen from have invested a lifetime of fortune on upbringing that animal to get milk from it, or maybe plow their fields or whatever they use the cow for. And when one fine morning that cow disappears from their cow shed, they lose their fucking mind because they have almost lost a lifetime of investment. because of that cow getting stolen, and that's a rampant problem. And people just thought, yes, we now have an extra voice to talk about this problem. But the lynchings that happened should not have happened, as that cow being stolen also should not have happened. Okay, if we live in a world of should and should not, we would have a much better society, of course. But we don't. So I'm not justifying lynchings, but let's not conflate why the lynchings happened. The lynchings did not happen because a Muslim stole it. The lynchings would happen even if a communist stole it, if a Jew stole it, if a Native American stole it, they would get lynched anyway, okay? Because it was their bread and butter that was getting stolen. It was their lifetime investment that was getting stolen.
How vigilantes. There are love jihad people. So
love jihad people. If there are love jihad people, they are a response to actual love jihad cases. And if you think there are absolutely no love jihad cases, then why are there so many cases of people claiming to be Hindu, having Hindu names, and then coming out as Muslim 2 or 3 years later or some months later after the marriage, okay? If there are cases like that, there will also be responses to that.
even when these politicians are just saying these things, but the people who are actually doing the deeds of violence, which are anti-Muslim, anti-minority, are like distanced people. So it's not exactly the party doing it, which
Yes.
conveniently gives them like this little Chinese wall for people.
Yes, and it's not a conspiracy. The BJP government machinery actually does not want these things to happen, which is why Nupur Sharma is in hiding, whereas Udaynidhi Stalin is not in hiding. Okay, and people who killed Nupur Sharma, I mean people who are killing people for supporting Nupur Sharma, Narendra Modi never spoke out one word against these people or on that topic whatsoever. Okay, but he tweets about Shabana Azmi breaking her leg. Okay, so it's a very clear policy of the government we have today in the center that we are not going to promote any kind of quasi-legal or violent activities on the streets, no matter which side it is for. Okay, and other than that, the people that are doing it, which he is saying is happening mysteriously with maybe BJP support, but not directly. No, that is not the case. There is something called spontaneous demand for a thing, okay? Some people just want some things to happen as a society. It's a societal response perhaps, okay? Unless we take the Canada and American newspaper media house route on the India-Canada issue, where they are saying that, you see, this political party called BJP has such a gigantic army of paid IT cell people and YouTubers who are just drowning us in YouTube by speaking good English and having a free internet and are defeating us in debates all across the globe, okay? And that is a problem. Like Kushal Mehra was saying in his live stream yesterday. Yeah, as if other parties don't have an IT cell. As if Congress doesn't have an IT cell. As if Republicans don't have an IT cell. As if Democrats don't have an IT cell. Your IT cells are getting defeated by the spontaneous response of an entire country. And even if it was IT cell, why are your IT cells getting defeated by BJP's IT cell, first of all? But second of all, if it's not IT cell and there is a spontaneous group of people who really want these things to happen, as there are spontaneously people asking for liberal policies, communist policies, and Republican policies, Democrat policies, everything. If you assign the wishes of an entire mass of people just on a political party who remotely claims to represent their interests, you are being very, very unfair. And then you are not a serious or legitimate YouTuber personality to be cared about or respected.
People like ScienceIsDope to also say that, oh, no, the government is not anti.
It is not.
He does this often. There was a topic on women going to temples during periods. That's not allowed as per Hinduism. ScienceIsDope responded to that by saying, where is it said in scripture? That's not anywhere there.
Guys, ScienceIsDope's full speech and debate on the Earth Culture Fest is insanely viral. Almost all of us have watched it multiple times in different sections of the debate and fully. That's not the only thing he said. ScienceIsDope's entire case was not that, yeah, it's not mentioned in scripture, so why are you arguing against it, okay? Okay, let me just turn on the live stream from my phone so that I can check out the comments from here, because there is some lagging going on here. So he had countless arguments to make the case why in fact that temple has. Your mic is not working. अब ये क्या हुआ? Try reloading the page to fix the problem. Hello. What's going on, guys? Is the audio coming? Today some weird things are happening. Let me know if the audio is coming, okay? And I'll turn the live stream on from here as well. It's repeatedly buffering, no? Audio is coming. Okay. मुझे अचानक दिखाया कि your mic is not working. So, yeah.
In scripture.
So it was not his only point that, oh, I need to cast this, I forgot. That is, it's not mentioned in any scripture and therefore allow it or disallow it. He had countless other arguments. For that, we can now talk about all the points he made there. But I'm sure he has watched that, or he has not watched that, in which case he's being very unfair as a debater here. There were things like, it's the deity's wishes which need to be respected. There are other temples where men are not allowed to enter. There are other temples where women of all ages are allowed to enter of the same deity, okay? It's just that one version or one rupa of that one deity in that one temple where women of a very specific age group, not because of their menstruation, are not allowed to enter. So why is he strawmanning this to such a large degree? I thought these guys would not have done anything but strawmanning. This was a gigantic strawman.
That not being there in scripture gives him the excuse to be able to say this. That's just like what he's doing here. The party people are not doing this, so that becomes an excuse for him.
What I would really be interested in finding out is what is his criteria for deciding something is Hindu or not. Is
Policy, Bhosri ke policy. Some policy that is only allowed for Hindus, or some evil policy that says this evil policy will not be applied to Hindus. That's the test.
a member of a self-professed Hindutva political party giving anti-Muslim speeches, according to him, Hindu or not? Because I'm willing to accept if he says, no, that is not what Hinduism means. Because there are plenty of Hindus who will also disagree with it, right? So at the end of the day, we are talking not about any objective reality, but the personal opinion of one man.
Arey, he was invited to the podcast to give his personal opinion. What are we talking about here?
Who is being interviewed in this podcast because he's well known, and that's all right.
True.
But we should not make the mistake of thinking that there is something called more Hindu or less Hindu. It's just his personal opinion.
Okay, so Deepak, guys, is a
Let us
lawyer.
stick to objective facts and data.
No,
He's a human being.
I'm going. If Deepak ever watches this video, hello Deepak. I'm going to give you completely anecdotal evidence right now, which is I spoke to a few of my friends and they spoke about you, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm not going to give you data. I'm not going to say who you are.
Subjective experience.
You're
Just to
just
annoy
giving
me.
him reasons to disregard the whole video.
Yeah, that's
he'll be
something
like-
ScienceIsDope will say. This is Meghnerd.
He's a very well-established, well-known lawyer in at least the Delhi circles. Someone told me that he has worked in some iconic cases. He
In at least the Delhi circles. Meanwhile, the royal family of Travancore was approaching him because he was relatively well known in the Delhi circles.
worked on the Shreya Singhal case, which was which took down the 66A, the section 66A. In the recent past, he has been showing up on a lot of these podcasts, including our friend Beer Biceps podcast, and he talks of everything, but mostly about being Indic. This is the same theme that Vimoh and me did a reaction video on, which is our friend Rajiv Malhotra.
Malhotra.
He never says India, he only says Bharat. You will see that throughout. Essentially, he's trying to become a public intellectual. He has written some books.
Trying to become a public intellectual, guys. These are low blows. These are not expected from someone who's claiming to point out straw man arguments and fallacies. This is that last day's live stream we did know. That random young guy who's saying that, yeah, J.Sai Deepak is against all Tamil non-Brahmin people. This is that level. This is not... I thought this would have been some Kushal Mehra level arguments against J.Sai Deepak. These guys are nuts.
Which you will see pop up somewhere here or there. I will put up the books.
I'm just gonna find any place in this video where he says India, and I'm gonna be like, hey,
I already saw. I checked, Pranav. And what's the...
Okay, I guess they have some query in their mind. Why use the word Indic repeatedly? Why not Indian or Bharatiya? Bharatiya he uses, of course, when we are talking about the nation state called India. Indic is not the same as Hindu entirely, although you could really use the word Hindu, because until a few decades back even Hindu meant specifically, अरे फिर से मुझे दिखा रहा है कि mic not working. I don't know what's going on. Why does this mic need to work at all? My audio is coming, right? Okay. So, like when Sitaram Goel is writing How I Became a Hindu, he is not saying that I was a communist and then one fine morning I started doing puja path. That is not Sitaram Goel's definition of Hindu. And today, Indic means exactly that. And also, Hindu by Sitaram Goel's term would imply that Jains are also Hindu, Buddhists are also Hindu, Sikhs are also Hindu. So, because some people and a lot of people think that they are not Hindu, therefore, J.Sai Deepak instead is using the word Indic to include all these people. Because Hindu today is not understood as the inclusion of Jainism, Buddhism, etc. So, let's not have any ambiguity about what exactly Indic means or why the word Indic is used.
You know what the interesting thing is? Let me just show you. He didn't use India, only quoted Bharat.
And then the clap emoji.
See, clap emoji.
Yes, it's a great thing. We are only using India all the while, so why not use Bharat also once in a while?
1.1K likes.
Someone has already said that, okay?
Angst within media spreads faster.
Faster.
Any other reason?
No, so one, angst, and two, it's lazy research. It's hard work to actually pull out the data and ask some serious questions.
Okay.
Here's a simple example. There's a very popular video during the CAA protests or anti-CAA protests. I think this was in Mumbai. Mr. Farhan Akhtar was participating in this protest, and the journalist asked, "What is it about this legislation that you oppose? Explain." He had no clue. Not the first clue what the legislation was about. Not the first clue what it was meant to deliver. He said, "इतने सारे लोग यहाँ पे हैं, तो कुछ तो होगा." So he's saying, "I'm here because there are others shouting." That's exactly how communist marches used to take place in Kerala in the 60s and 70s. So a bystander near a tea stall would be drinking tea. Some idiot would be going about taking a protest march saying, "Long live revolution, Viplavam," so on and so forth. This fellow will say, "I will also join." He'll never ask the first question. क्यों चिल्ला रहे हैं? इसकी कोई बुनियाद है? Is there a basis for it? What is my position on it? Nothing. I challenge most people who think they know anything about the CAA to tell me what the CAA is about.
Yes, we are here.
My first reaction is you go to any protest by anyone, you'll find there are people who don't know what the protest is about.
Yeah.
And if you want to understand the strongest version of the argument, you listen to people who are presenting the argument. Yogendra Yadav has made videos about CAA. You did not watch that. You decided to go by...
Made videos about CAA, okay. Yeah, so now his argument apparently is that J.Sai Deepak does not know what are the anti-CAA arguments. And since J.Sai Deepak does not know those arguments, he should have watched Yogendra Yadav's video. As if J.Sai Deepak has never debated anyone in his entire life. And let's not overrate Yogendra Yadav, okay? Again, another guy who just speaks great English. Look at his, listen to his podcast with Barkha Dutt and Salvatore Babones and Sadanand Dhume and another old lady journalist. So all of these guys were basically very much against the government and that fascism is going on, etc. Salvatore Babones was the only one who's saying that kahan hai bhai, kahan fascism dikh nahi raha hai. So there, near the end, I think about even in the halfway point in that video, okay, Yogendra Yadav very creepily actually loses his temper but does not give it out in his voice. Okay, I'm very wary of these kind of people. When Deepak gets pissed off, even when Deepak is not pissed off, he basically starts saying things aggressively and speaks very fast. Okay, you know that, yeah, whatever his emotions are, we are getting it outside. Yogendra Yadav is saying that kya re bhosri ke teri maa ko. That's how he talks, and the things he said to Salvatore Babones was insanely disrespectful. But he said that in that very stupid, idiotic tone. And that's why it did not come across as that maybe to some other people. But if a guy can lose his temper and suddenly bring out this creepy self of his out in public while debating just a nice, cute, fat Professor Salvatore Babones. Imagine what that guy is going to do in front of Deepak. Okay, let's not worship Yogendra Yadav. That his views on CA. If only Deepak had known Yogendra Yadav's views on CA, he would have understood. Deepak would have become anti-CA.
By Farhan Akhtar, an actor and director who was there expressing solidarity during a protest on the ground. If you go to those so-called pro-CAA protests that were being done by members of the RSS or the BJP back when these protests were happening, I distinctly remember there being clips of someone going and asking those people, hey, what are you doing here? And they say, Modi.
Another straw man here. Deepak specifically brought out Farhan Akhtar's name because he's a well-known celebrity who is always having an opinion on these things. He is not talking about some random guy on that protest who got called out for or who got exposed as not knowing enough about the topic. It's a significant big celebrity who is joining in that protest for showing solidarity and then saying that I don't know anything about this topic. Okay, it's a very important distinction to make. And also, I love Farhan Akhtar, but I hate the fact that he hired Shankar Ehsaan Loy to do the music for Rock On, guys. How stupid do you have to be to not hire Vishal Dadlani, a guy who's actually a rock musician, and you hire Shankar Ehsaan Loy? That's the only thing I hate Farhan Akhtar for. And Farhan Akhtar also, let me tell you of an interesting story about Farhan Akhtar. NH7 Shillong, okay? NH7 is a big music festival, I'm sure you all know. It's basically famous for bringing out all different genres of musicians under one concert banner every year in different important cities in India. Shillong, Delhi, Bombay, Pune, Bangalore, etc. Kolkata now has been relegated to a smaller NH7 show status. But in 2016, I went to Shillong to watch Steven Wilson, a British singer-songwriter, live. And on that day or on the previous day, Farhan Akhtar was also supposed to perform because that's when Rock On 2 was coming out. And Shraddha Kapoor came as a surprise. No one knew that Shraddha Kapoor was going to be there. And so in entire NH7, no one basically listens to Bollywood music as such. They maybe watched Rock On when they were younger, but Rock On 2, no one gave a shit about, right? Most people didn't watch even Rock On 2. Till this date, I haven't watched Rock On 2, even though I am a rock musician. So that film obviously flopped. Now, another thing you have to know about NH7, these concerts, is that there's usually a certain class of people go to NH7, okay? And therefore, that specific class of people wear very specific kinds of clothes. Meaning, when it comes to women, they usually wear scanty and skimpy clothes. It's not uncommon to only see women in insanely short crop tops and insanely short micro mini skirts, etc. And even then, NH7 has never had a case of molestation or something, okay, in NH7. I have been to NH7 countless times, although not outside Bengal, only in Shillong and countless times in Kolkata. I've never heard, not even in other cities of NH7, that any molestation case happened. When Farhan Akhtar came on stage, his promotion of his movement called Mard was also going on, okay? And that Mard movement was about men standing up for women and protecting women from getting molested, etc. Mysteriously, on that day, for the first time in NH7 history, apparently, a woman got molested. And how do I know this? Out of the blue, Farhan Akhtar stops music dramatically, stops the live music and says that, hey, we just got news that some girl got molested. And if you don't stop this immediately, I will personally come down and beat the shit out of you. because I stand up for women to such an extent. So these are mysterious correlations that happen. Okay, I'm not insinuating anything here. I don't want to get sued by Farhan Akhtar, but this is what happened.
Modi. They also had no idea. If you are looking for a book, you go to a library. If you are looking for a cooking instrument, you go to a place that sells those things. You don't randomly point at some.
No, you also expose any professor pretending to teach that subject for saying absolutely wrong things about that subject, or saying that I don't know that subject at all.
Someone use their temporary ignorance on the matter as the foundation of your argument against the entire thing. That's lazy and, might I add, dishonest.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like using anecdotal evidence to show that alternative medicine.
Arey bhai, Farhan Akhtar is not anecdotal evidence. He's a significant voice, significant celebrity who act, and he's not significant like let's say Deepika Padukone or Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who never talk about socio-political issues. Deepika Padukone also speaks out when it's conveniently necessary. Farhan Akhtar is someone who is known as some sort of an activist to some degree. Okay, he stands up for things, etc. So his voice, his words need to be taken seriously. And if he says that he doesn't know anything about CA, that needs to be brought out. He's not a random guy, nor is he a random celebrity.
Effective.
Yeah. I saw that clip, which is pointing out, right? And Farhan Akhtar doesn't say that I don't know anything about the law. He says that, there are so many people here, there are so many people screaming. I cannot give you many details right now. But there are people here gathered for a reason and they're angry.
That makes that clip exactly what he needs to make this kind of a silly argument.
Opposition is to raise your voice against something is absolute democratic right. Yeah, people are raising their voices, and I subscribe to the view that there seems to be a certain amount of discrimination in what has been planned and what is happening.
Seems to be certain amount of discrimination. What he said before this line is irrelevant anyway. Deepak is not saying that you don't have a democratic right to protest here. His second sentence is that there seems to be. I'm getting a vibe that there is a discriminatory policy going on. This is exactly like Justin Trudeau saying we have credible allegations. First of all, it's an allegation. Then we have credible allegations. So this is vague as fuck. Why shouldn't this be brought out?
And as a citizen of this country, and as somebody who has been born and is grown up with a certain idea of what India is, it is important for me to raise my voice.
What is the point in this bill that you don't like? What is the point in that?
Sir, I don't want to discuss details right now and scream on top of my voice and talk to you. I'll talk about this in more detail with somebody else.
हमेशा का कहना है कि जो लोग इंडिया में रह रहे हैं उनको तकलीफ नहीं होगी चाहे वो कोई भी कास्ट का
बिल्कुल
हो। तो फिर प्रोटेस्ट किस बात का?
तो फिर सर आप घर चले जाइए, आप क्यों आके कवर कर रहे हैं प्रोटेस्ट को?
जो ऑलरेडी इंडिया में रह रहे हैं उनको कोई तकलीफ नहीं होगी।
जी।
उनको कोई सवाल नहीं पूछा।
हाँ लेकिन अगर आप देखें उन डिटेल्स में तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि हो सकता है कुछ।
अरे ऐसा लग रहा है, then हो सकता है. This is Justin Trudeau's lingo. Why shouldn't this be brought out and exposed?
हो सकता है मतलब अगर आप पढ़ेंगे क्या लिखा उसमें तो it seems like it's a possibility and people here
seems like possibility. What is going on? Vague after layers of vagary. It's not called vagary. Layers of vagueness.
Why would so many people be concerned if everything was...
Why would so many, as if so many people don't gather for any random thing, okay? Because when Narendra Modi came to power in 2014, when he came to power in 2019, every commie in their Facebook cover pic used to post that quote of Hitler that, not quote of Hitler, quote about Hitler that never trust a group of stupid people.
Was okay. Why would so many people be concerned? Not just in Mumbai, in Assam, in Delhi, in Bangalore.
तो मोदी जी ने किया है तो कुछ सोच समझ के ही किया होगा. If so many people are voting for Modi, then there's definitely something right about it.
In Hyderabad, why are people concerned?
He's doing a straw man and
He's not doing a straw man, bro. Here, Farhan Akhtar was absolutely clueless. Clueless was the word Deepak used also, right? That's the vibe I'm also getting. He was basically clueless. But why are you defending his... Oh, he and I have the same chair, guys. Oh, this is fun. But you need to maintain certain amount of respect, bro. What's your name? ScienceIsDope. At least have some respect for this same nice chair we are using. He was clueless. There was no strawmanning, absolutely. Farhan Akhtar repeatedly said, even if he actually knew something and did not have the time to do it, a time to explain that why is CAA bad, etc., he would say that this is so bad, this is so discriminatory against Muslims. He would give at least those talking points and maybe add 1 or 2 lines that you know Muslims are going to be kicked out, etc. He did not say that. That shows that he was had absolutely no confidence in his arguments. He said, seems like possibility, so many people are coming. This shows that he actually doesn't know anything about the policy. This is very unfair. Science is dope.
Taking anecdotal evidence.
But also, Pranav, even if Farhan Akhtar doesn't know what is in the bill, right? I
That's
feel
not
like
even the point, yeah.
Even still, he deserves to be there. He gave that example of that Kerala fellow communist do this, which is like he sees like a march going by and then he's like, oh, I'll also join. I don't know why. But most marches are anti-establishment, right?
Yeah.
And if people are angry, they join marches. It's as simple as that.
No, even if you ask Deepak, you are having a march for some cause, will you set up a gateway where you say, where you make people give examinations? You need to have complete knowledge.
Yeah,
about
that's not possible. And here he is making a fair argument. I have a counter for that. Deepak is not saying that why isn't everyone in that protest march fully adept at defending that argument or that policy. That's not why Deepak was making this point. He is making this point to make a general statement about a lot of people, an entire mass of majority of people in India who were against CAA not actually knowing what was in the CAA. And for that he had to put a face on that argument. For that he used Farhan Akhtar because he is a significant celebrity who talks about socially significant problems. Okay, that's why. There's nothing less and nothing more about this.
We are protesting about in order to join it. If he says that, I'll totally be on his camp. Because I'm pretty sure that
that's not what
does.
he's saying.
Half the people who were doing the...
He was making a general point about most people being unaware of what the CAA actually says.
Pro-CAA protests. A law is brought by the government. People who support the government are protesting against people who are protesting against the law. It's ridiculous in its own right.
So I spoke with Arif Hussain about CAA. You can see it on my longest podcast. It's 4 hours long. But to make it easier for you, there are timestamps. And I've clearly marked the path where we're talking about CAA. So you can just watch that for reference. I believe he made a distinction between both CAA and NRC. And I think he gave examples of people in Kerala who are Pakistanis by citizenship, who can speak Malayalam fluently, who have lived in the land for so many years. Because of this act, they would have to go back, even though they're like 19 and they're not in good health.
So that's
the thing is, I think he was making arguments in support of CAA and NRC. Of course, there will be bad examples of CAA causing difficulty to a lot of people. Doesn't mean the whole act or the overall statistical change that the act is gonna bring about is a good thing.
You know what my next question is going to be?
Yeah, sure.
Explain it.
You're such a lazy podcast. He won't even ask his question.
Has a historical context. But before I come to the long-winded historical context, I'll give the straight answer. What does it do? Obviously, for a refugee from Pakistan, Bangladesh, or Afghanistan, if they wanted to apply for citizenship in this country, there were a certain set of criteria that they had to satisfy. Cut-off dates, documents, how many years they've actually lived in Bharat for them to say that they intend to live in Bharat for the rest of their lives. That period was about 11 years. That was reduced to say you don't need to live here for 11 years to claim or ask for citizenship. That's one. And second is, it basically says in these countries, there is a marked anti-non-Muslim persecution where non-Muslim minorities don't seem to be having a great time at all. And the demographics are fast dwindling. And with each passing day, there's a serious problem. When they act on that and they come out with a CAA, the first question that people ended up asking is, will Indian Muslims be affected by it? A specific amendment to the Citizenship Act, which is meant to facilitate faster acquisition of citizenship to refugees, uska Bharatiya Musalmanon ke saath kya lena dena hai? Ask yourself this simple commonsensical question.
Yeah, so here is where I will pause. Does that sound like what arguments you've heard, Pranav?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, yeah, what he said aligns with what Arif
Arif
said.
says, yeah.
He basically nothing will happen to already. I mean, Muslims that are already Indian citizens.
Right. He's arguing in favor of CAA. But the protests were not about the CAA, they were about the CAA-NRC. There is a reason why the NRC was clubbed into it. So what BJP was trying to do was that they were trying to create
Okay, so he's saying that he or all the people protesting don't have a problem with CAA. They have a problem with just NRC. Nice.
Muslim filter, as I call it.
So all their hoardings, all their placards said that CAA, NRC is bad. We are protesting against that. So if that is really a clarification from, if he is really now the face of the protest, if we can count him as that, it's a great news, guys. They are not against CAA at all. Let's rejoice.
Argument here is that Indian Muslims will not be affected by this act, right? Which is completely true. But what is happening is that parallelly they were doing this exercise called the National Register of Citizens. They tried it in Assam, where they were saying that Bangladeshi immigrants who have come to India should not get the citizenship. So there was like this whole thing about a National Register for Citizens which happened in the 70s, where certain names were included which got citizenship in India. In Assam, what they have been saying is that we should go back to that register and check who are the descendants, and they should be the only people who have citizenship, because other than that, everybody is an illegal immigrant. What they were trying to do is create this NRC. They tried it, they did it for 2 years, and when the data came out, they found out that a lot of illegal immigrants ended up being included in the NRC, and a lot of even BJP supporters and Kattar Hindus ended up getting excluded from the NRC because of data entry errors.
To be fair, guys, actually, initially, even when after I had become sort of a right winger, so to speak, even then I was against the NRC and CA just because of this particular reason, NRC specifically, that I don't trust the government to execute any goddamn policy with perfection. So it's just those same Sarkari Babus who prepared and gave strong, hard exams all their lives to get a Sarkari Naukri, where they will tell you come after 12 p.m., come after 1 p.m., come after 2 p.m., or they won't get any job of yours done unless they get some bribe from you, or they won't do your job unless you bring a neta with you. These same fuckers are going to handle this gigantic thing called NRC, okay? So there were bound to be mistakes made which will end up kicking some legitimate citizens out of the country. And 1 or 2 cases did happen already. So now I'm a little more agnostic on this, that where's the line? What all policies should you not have at all just because someone might screw it up? And there is one other legitimate case to make here, is that, okay, maybe you don't stop free ration just because someone might screw up a paperwork, but CA and or NRC should be really not done because someone might screw it up, because the implications or the repercussions are insanely dangerous. That a random Indian citizen gets deported or is kicked out or is not considered an Indian citizen, and then they have to spend a lifetime on lawyers' fees and doing rounds of the Supreme Court, etc. So I have not made up on my mind on this particular topic, that if your premise really is that yes, government employees might screw a lot of things up with this, just idiotic mistakes, not because of any evil intentions, just because they are fucking dumb employees, okay? And their jobs won't ever go away, etc. Those kinds of things, unless actual artificial intelligence or data science or some tech is involved. If it's just Sarkari Babus doing this, there will be screw ups. So in terms of that, if we really agree on this premise, in that case, I'm asking my viewers here who are in favor of CA and NRC, what will be your position? That if mistakes are made, should we then do away with this policy completely because it prevents because it might end up kicking out or not considering a legitimate Indian citizen as an Indian citizen? Should there be such a big step for that yes, mistakes might be made, so let's not do it at all?
The people who were collecting the data were asking for documents to prove that their ancestors came from, they were a part of India, etc. A lot of people didn't have it, so they were not in the list. A lot of BJP people got pissed. A lot of Hindus were excluded from it. What happens is, if you do an NRC, let's imagine a nationwide NRC is done. There are many data errors that happen, and people end up getting excluded. Even people like you and me end up getting excluded. The thing is, by the usage of CAA, we will immediately get our citizenship back. Because it doesn't matter, right? We are from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan. Kuch bhi bol sakte hain.
Just apply.
How does it matter? They don't care. But who will not get the citizenship back? Muslims.
Muslims.
Because they're not in there. Also, who will not get their citizenship back? I think Vijayendra won't, because atheist. And also Jews. For some reason, they didn't include Jews also. So,
For some reason.
If you look at this entire thing together, it is extremely sinister.
It is nobody's case that we should not accept refugees. We have always accepted refugees, and we should have a very good refugee law. But in the name of that, if you create a terribly designed piece of shit law that seems, at least on face value, to be at least a little unconstitutional because you are discriminating on the basis of religion against people, that doesn't float. And when people call out that this is stupid, you can't say,
Okay. You can't discriminate based on law. Then why are only Hindu temples, funds of Hindu temples used to build flyovers and roads, etc.? Why is there a Waqf board? There are no laws that discriminate in favor or against one particular religion. What is he talking about?
seems, at least on face value, to be at least a little unconstitutional because you are discriminating on the basis of religion
unconstitutional
against people. That doesn't float. And when people call out that this is stupid, you can't say, I am being discriminated against because of what I stand for. What do you stand for? Badly written laws?
How many?
No, Deepak stands for a law that gives home to non-Muslims persecuted in Muslim countries. In not all Muslim countries, just your two neighbors.
Non-Muslim, but minority Hindus, etc., whoever is mentioned from those religions. How many of these from Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan have applied for Indian citizenship since 1947? Can you guess?
Is it less than 10?
No, more.
Is it less than 20?
More.
Okay, 100?
No. It's actually a decent number.
Oh,
I don't know what decent means.
Again, it's
1 lakh?
1947, okay? So it's 31,313 people, right?
Oh,
And you know how I know that? Because this
31313.
Yes, 31313, and that's why I remember it also. But also, this was actually revealed in a committee, a parliamentary committee, when this question was actually asked to the ministry, Home Ministry. Now,
Guys,
31
Showman Balti here is making a very important point, which is actually true. Because we live in a corrupt socialist country mostly. Bro, in NRC, Hindus, especially Bangal means descendants or descendants of people who came from Bangladesh during partition or during 71, etc. So, all that while, 41 to 50s mainly. So, they will suffer more. Bullahs came here with full preparations. They have their Aadhaar card, voter card and all. Yes, they do have. And it's mainly done with cahoots with our ruling party. And MLAs, panchayat people of the border areas, all of them have, who are from their same religion, of course, have given out Aadhaar card and any documents willy-nilly, okay, people. And you can buy any Aadhaar card, voter card, realistic, that you can actually use for just 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees in some villages, I've heard. So this is not an anecdotal evidence I'm giving out from far right Hindutvadi sources. Okay, these things are common knowledge in any border village, I think in any part of the country. So what then happens to the Hindus who don't have this political backing here in West Bengal?
31,313 people. Are you making an entire law for 31,313 people? Because those are the only.
Straw man's again. Not everyone has the legal backing, the financial backing in villages of Pakistan and Bangladesh, or who have come here as dirt poor, to go around going to the government or going to a lawyer to really ask for a citizenship, especially when they know that there's no such policy going on. Okay, why is he making this case? How is this going to happen? They are dirt poor people. They are manual laborers, daily wage earners. When are they going to do the rounds of government offices?
Only ones who have applied. When Amit Shah was asked this question, ki, are you making a law for only these people? He said, no, lakhs and crores of people will benefit from this.
Yeah.
And then people were like, how will you suddenly have lakhs of crores of people applying for CAA when from 1947 onwards there were only 31,000 people? So then he said, no, what will happen is, till now they haven't declared it. So once we pass this law, is when
People
there
will
will be
come
a host
thronging
of
into-
people.
yeah.
There will be people
Actually, very true. That is what will happen. But again, that is a speculation. So it's one legitimate argument they are making.
who will come and they'll be in lakhs and
Although it may not be entirely speculative, because you can assume that if they are being discriminated against, which we have proof that since their numbers are dwindling to such an extent, then why would they not want it? Okay, that's the argument. But it's still in the realm of speculation and guessing, crystal ball gazing, things like that, and it's not based on hard data. So
crores. Now that
Where's the
is
data for that?
also that's why I know Vimoh, like that is what raised my radar first, which is like
see,
where will
the
lakhs and
problem is, in an ideal world, in an ideal India, this would have been a serious argument to take note of. Okay, that yes, this is Amit Shah is just making a speculation here. Why take it seriously? It's not based on hard data. But these things, everything in India is a counter to something else, and CAA-NRC, these things are counters to other things which are based on massive amounts of speculation. There are countless laws like that which are just speculation, that yes, if we don't do this law, there might be problems for some people. There are many speculations for that. One big speculation is that, has reservation really benefited people? Where's the data for that? How do you know that if we didn't do this reservation, these people would not have benefited anyway because of capitalism or the general rise in prosperity? So all that's based on speculation only. So why shouldn't this be based on speculation?
crores of people come from? If an NRC is done, there will be lakhs and crores of people that will come. There will be me. Maybe I will be a part of those lakhs and crores of people because I will have no other option.
Imagine the plight of a BJP supporter who's like, yes, CAA-NRC, and then he finds out that he's no longer a citizen and he has to apply and he has to thank.
Imagine the plight of a communist who is an atheist, says that communism is great and all religions are bad, especially Hinduism is bad, but then has to go and settle for work in a capitalist state or in a capitalist country where maybe he one day dies at the hands of people who are religious in a riot. Imagine the plight of that person.
Full for the entire hassle of being declared illegal and then applying to be illegal, applying to be legal and then becoming legal. Yeah, thank you for making me do 7 months of work for something that was not at all required. Jaisa tha
Yeah.
waisa theek tha.
Reminds me of Bengali commies who are probably also saying in their minds that, yeah, thank you for doing communism in Bengal, but now I'm working in Bengaluru.
फालतू में इतना भगाया.
So Gokul is saying he's from Hyderabad. We in Tamil Nadu don't want to own him.
And that's why you all have a CM's son calling for the eradication of the majority religion of the country.
Jay Deepak is from Hyderabad. I thought Gokul was from Hyderabad.
No. Jai Sai Deepak is from Hyderabad. Yeah.
No, everyone is an Indian. Let us not deny his citizenship.
So Devaditya is saying, so according to Deepu, only people who know about an issue should only protest. Seriously, nuance
That's not what he
is
said.
not his strong suit.
Yeah, we debunked that.
I mean,
That's not what he
And
said.
also, Beer
Comment.
Bicep should know about the topics that he asks
Yeah.
people questions about.
There's someone who said research and Ranveer are two things which will never come together.
What's the reality of CA?
Why
today,
will
2023?
okay, I don't think these guys understand the concept of a podcast, guys. Why is podcast different from a news media interview? This is one thing a lot of Indians don't get yet, and I'm surprised that even these fuckers don't get it. A podcast is a curious lay person talking to experts in a field and just asking him random questions like a lay person would. An interviewer from a newspaper house is supposed to prepare research about his guest's entire life and his works, his body of work, and then ask him very, very specific questions on why he did that particular action or how he achieved that particular result, and why is he not doing this specific thing. That's the difference between a podcast and an interviewer. It's about curious people talking to interesting people. That's it.
The unfortunate reality, which is why I said that Indic interest and BJP interest overlapping is just a happy coincidence. It's not 100% overlap. The rules have not been notified till date. At the very least, to the best of my limited knowledge and decent memory, 6 extensions have been
Guys,
sought from the
I'm sorry.
Parliament
Let me
to
just
come out-
pause and refresh my Google Meet as well as my YouTube here, okay? Because the sync is absolutely random here.
Thankful for the entire hassle of being declared illegal and then applying to be illegal, applying to be legal and then becoming legal. Yeah, thank you for making me do all required. जैसा था वैसा ठीक था, फालतू में इतना भगाया.
So Gokul is saying he's from Hyderabad.
No, everyone is an Indian. Let us not deny his citizenship.
So Devaditya is saying, so according to Deepu, only people who know about an issue should.
Parliament to come out with a rule. Just a happy coincidence. It's not 100% overlap. The rules have not been notified till date. At the very least, to the best of my limited knowledge and decent memory, 6 extensions have been sought from the Parliament to come out with the rules to implement the CAA. तो आपने CAA तो launch कर दिया, but आपने rules के बारे में सोचा ही नहीं था.
Good point.
My question is, तो तैयारी किस level की है? What is the level of your preparation? And in the process, the entire country is discussing an issue which the government has not shown the interest to implement yet.
Maybe because of the backlash it got.
In which case, I would then say, what strong government? Farm protest rolled back.
Also a very good point.
CAA, you haven't done this. Khalistani movement.
We have
is
consensus, guys. Something we all agree upon. These 3 people, JSI, Deepak, me, us, all our viewers.
been normalized. And someone managed to take out a tractor parade on the 26th of January, right? The tricolor was pulled off. All of this has happened. Punjab is again looking at a situation where it may not be exactly the 1980s, but it seems like it is hurtling towards it.
See, again, that's what I'm saying. Right? So Vimoh, you went good point, but he extended it to basically that farm protest where he's like the government should have shut it down.
No, I am thinking that he has a disagreement with the BJP dispensation, and I have a problem with the BJP dispensation. We might have it for different reasons, but the point about this not being a strong government is correct. I think it's not a strong government for other reasons. He thinks it's not a strong government for other reasons.
Yeah,
That's
fair
what I was
enough.
pointing out.
But he extended it to Khalistan, which is like essentially Punjab is going back to
Yeah,
the 80s.
and
stuff.
conveniently forgot to mention that 700 farmers died during the protest that.
Oh, fuck. Okay, guys. A small personal story here. I knew of a great bass player who was in my friend list or my Instagram following list. I used to talk to him, and he did a background score for a great movie. Now, one fine morning, I shared something on my Instagram, and he got pissed off about it. It was something to do with the farm laws, etc. And he started bringing out this exact same point, that 700 people died during the protest. And I countered him, etc. And he got so pissed off, and now we don't speak anymore. That was very unfortunate. Commies are so ill prepared and they are so bad at these things. So, where have these 700 people died because of the protest or in the protest? Just because a protest was going on and some old people came or some diseased people came and they died during that 1 or 2 years of that protest because of absolutely other things, doesn't mean that the police went around killing 700 people. Okay, this is what happens when you don't read Thomas Sowell all your life, okay? fallacy, ये वो mug fallacy है, ये synthesizer fallacy है, सब fallacy का नाम जानता है भोसरी के, मगर पता नहीं है कि कहाँ fallacy खुद दे रहा है. How can you conflate these two? People can't die just because they are going to a protest. Protest में गया इसलिए मृत्युंजय बन गया. What are they talking about? Can he show any evidence about anyone getting killed by police firings or 700 people dying in the protests? Unless they died in the protest, they cannot be called to say that they died because of the protest. This is against English grammar. Basic sentence construction ही नहीं है यहाँ पे.
Lasted for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
Then I have to say, what strong government? This is exactly where My disagreements come.
This is so low level. I thought this was going to be some high level counters. I thought they are going to bring up the topic of Deepak saying that Barkha needs to be kicked out of the country. I had some arguments in my mind for that. I don't know if they're going to talk about it. What's this? This is class 11, 12 sort of a commie SFI arguments.
And my criticisms come. So the good part is that I'm not part of a choir which is constantly singing in praise of anyone.
That's true.
I'm clearly saying give credit where it's due.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
But also disagree and point out the mistakes.
Okay. Cool.
That is, by the way,
heard,
pause.
That
bit of advice, every right winger should take.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone take it.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be in support of a government or a political party, but the moment you say that they can do no wrong, you have lost it. You have lost the battle for your own interests.
And also, like, he's just essentially talking about being anti-established.
Okay, RSB is bringing out something important here. Dada, how are you putting up with their crap for this long? It is called capitalism, RSB. This is because of economic incentives. Since I have not done a live stream in so long, again, my algorithm has gotten absolutely fucked. And today I have about 30-40 people watching, so it's giving me a great algorithm boost. That's why I'm tolerating this. Otherwise, I had no reason to. This is a spectator sport, guys. You all are the audience, and we are having a UFC of ideas.
In his own way. He's also like saying that I'm nobody's cheerleader.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like all three of
Yeah,
us are
same
also
here,
the
same
same,
here,
right? You know, which is like we are nobody's cheerleaders.
If
Right?
he's a lawyer who was fighting against 66A, which was this draconian internet censorship law brought by the Congress, by the way, drafted by Kapil Sibal apparently, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Then more power to him.
Yeah.
I hope he does the same when this government does the same.
Right? It's not as if I need trouble for me to thrive.
you're saying the media has fueled these Hindu
So,
fear narratives.
I'm
which
sorry I'm
Christians and
interrupting
minorities
during
are-
go
the
on, go on.
question. We
Yeah.
can play it again.
Right.
But I have a qualm here. No, this is not about the content of what is being talked about. But I recently have been producing and editing podcasts. I would never put the camera on the person who's not talking. What are they doing? Talking, he was the only person on camera. What's happening? At least show.
A very important thing that only he can do. Nodding.
Yeah, and they wanted to show. Listen, guys, I got a lot of shots for my Fluffoganda videos from this clip. Okay, where because they were not showing Deepak and they were just showing him doing like all the time. I was like, hey, this is nice compilation. I got a compilation out of this.
You're saying the media has fueled
Wow,
these
great content.
Hindutva fear narratives which Muslims and Christians and minorities have adopted. Therefore, there's a lack of peace.
Media is just one convenient punching bag. I significantly blame and squarely blame the left.
This part.
Okay, which is all the people you meet at parties, college kids.
The academics, the Marxists, specifically the Marxists, their historiography and their alignment of interests has always been with the worst of examples from the non-Hindu communities, not with the good examples. The left never celebrated Dr. Kalam as long as he was alive.
What
The left till date does not celebrate Sri K.K. Muhammad because he was clear
that's a
about
lie.
the possession of Ram Janmabhoomi.
That's a lie. That's a brazen lie. The left never celebrated Dr. Kalam is a lie. That's all that needs to be said about it.
Beer biceps kept saying this, right? Which is whenever he's
On this I'll have to side with these three people because all my life I was a leftist, all my friends were leftist, and we were pretty stoked about APJ Abdul Kalam forever. And in fact, there were some fringe leftists who probably about whom Deepak is talking. I still remember those people. Some JU presidency people who were saying that they were Brahmin Hindu Marxists. Okay, they had the argument that APJ Abdul Kalam should not be celebrated because APJ Abdul Kalam has never spoken out about the plight of Muslims in this Hindu fascist country, and they were saying it before BJP got elected to power. Okay, so maybe Deepak is talking about those specific fringe leftists, but other than that, everyone has celebrated APJ Abdul Kalam. But in terms of KK Muhammad, of course, this point stands. No one even heard of KK Muhammad until BJP came to power.
said the problem is the left, right? And he's like, oh yeah, all those people who go to parties, no?
I think he might be
Not
he
know
might be
what-
confusing it with some memory of a party that he once went to where some people were left after the party ended. I don't know what he means by people who go to parties are left. Did he mean leftovers?
So Deepak says the problem is the left and Marxist. And then like he's like,
Wait, I'll need to listen to this point that Deepak made. What's this thing about parties?
and their alignment of interests has always been with the worst of examples from the non-Hindu communities, not with the good examples. The left never celebrated
This is an important point to make. People are, and when I say people, it's not about one specific educated elite class. Of course, it's the masses who are celebrating Aurangzeb, who are celebrating terrorists, but they are not celebrating KK Muhammad, they are not celebrating Arif Muhammad Khan, they are not celebrating APJ Abdul Kalam anymore. Now, because the Indian Hindutva right wing also celebrates APJ Abdul Kalam to such an extent, therefore they have actually shifted away from APJ Abdul Kalam to a bit, to a little extent, to a large extent, probably.
Dr. Kalam as long as he was alive. The left till date does not celebrate Shri KK Muhammad because he was clear
that's a
about
lie.
the possession of Ram Janmabhoomi.
That's a lie. That's a brazen lie. The left never celebrated Dr. Kalam is a lie. That's all that needs to be said about it.
beer biceps kept saying this, right? Which is whenever he said the problem
Where's the
is
party's point?
Okay, which is all the people you meet at parties, college kids.
The academics,
Are beer bicep brought it about the thing about parties. Deepak did not bring up the idea of parties and commies going to parties. They were talking about elite people, of course. We should not talk about elite leftists as if they are not in any positions of power. What's their argument here?
the Marxists, specifically the Marxists, their historiography and
Deepak
their
did not talk
alignment
about
of
parties.
interests has always been with the worst of examples from the non-Hindu communities, not with the good
Deepak did not talk about parties first and foremost, but even if he did, it would have been a legitimate case to make. That elites who hate Marxism, communism, economic prosperity, all of them do go to parties, right? It's an elite circle. Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, etc. These are elite circles. Parties is just one event that Pierre Biceps is mentioning. But they have very specific events that they go to, very specific movies that they watch, very specific literature festivals that they go to. They will never go to Pondicherry Literature Festival. They will go to Jaipur Literature Festival. Why is that? What's different about Jaipur Literature Festival? What thing they are getting in Jaipur Literature Festival which they are not getting in Pondicherry Literature Festival? So that's the metaphor for the parties that Pierre Biceps mentioned. And it was a perfectly fair point to make.
examples. The left never celebrated Dr. Kalam as long as he was alive. The left till date does not celebrate Shri KK Muhammad because he was clear
that's a
about
lie.
the possession of Ram Janmabhoomi.
We did
a
this part.
lie. That's all that needs to be said about it.
beer biceps kept saying this, right? Which is whenever he said the problem is the left, right? And he's like, oh yeah, all those people who go to parties, no?
Yes. So every party that Beer Biceps goes to, every house party that I've been in, I've only seen leftists. If you can point out a Hindutva house party that was going to, let us know. We will all join together and have a rave about Bhagavad Gita.
I think he might be
Not
he
know
might be confusing it with some memory of a party that he once went to where some people were left after the party ended. I don't know what he means by people who go to parties are left. Did he mean leftovers?
So Deepak says the problem is the left and Marxist. And then like he's like, oh yeah, the people who go to parties, no, those elite people, English-speaking people.
Yeah.
And the first time he said it was when he was like, oh yeah, I go to parties and they're like, oh, you're a right-winger. And those are the people you're talking about. No,
Yeah, so he might be confusing with urban liberals, right?
I think so, yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't think he has an exposure to anybody else other than that, right?
Yeah, he has no exposure to anything other than
Yeah.
a mirror.
I was just thinking, let's try being fair to him.
Yeah.
Let's try and take the most fair interpretation of whatever he said.
Go on.
So, does he mean political party?
I think in Beer Biceps' head, he has no clue what a left and a right is. But basically, because people call him right and they say that I don't like what you do, he's like, oh, to ye left hai fir. So I think his whole thing is that if people are criticizing me, they are left wing and they are basically in one category. And then they are like,
Yes, you are in a category. Okay, now this is a point that Deepak also makes, that I'm not a right winger, I'm an Indic winger, and I disagree with that. Why can't you embrace your category? You don't have to agree to everything in that category, but broadly, yes, Deepak is a right winger. Broadly, yes, I am a right winger. On economics, I'm further right from BJP. And on culture also, unless the Waqf board and all these laws go away. And all these three, all their arguments so far I've heard are leftist arguments. Why are you so afraid of the term leftist? I don't get it. Because we'll call you Stalin immediately. No, unless you defend Stalin. Unless you have a photo of Che Guevara in your home, I'm not going to blame you for the mass murders of all leftists.
Also, like, popular narrative, right? Which is, all these English speaking elite people who go to parties are left.
Does this mean nobody
Are they not left? What are they talking about?
invites beer biceps to parties?
I don't think so. I've heard he's not very good at it. So
Not very good at what? Parties?
parties and socializing. So
Oh, then he has my sympathies, man, even I'm not.
so that's Deepak for you guys. Overall, what did you think?
I get requests often to talk about him on my channel also, but things he talks about and his domain also kind of doesn't really overlap that much with
Yeah.
what I do. So I don't really have too many comments on him. Even in this video, I'm not sure anything I know about him or my views on him, any change happened anywhere there.
I mean, you were वैसे भी neutral, right?
So they did not really bring out the most actually controversial thing that Deepak said, which is about Barkadat and Romila Thapar being kicked out of the country. Okay, this seems like a waste of time, except the fact that I got a lot of views from this.
You didn't know much about him, so
I wouldn't say neutral. I don't agree with.
Hey, all the guys who recommended me repeatedly to do a live reaction for this, you are to blame, okay? And you also maybe deserve some commission for giving me so many views.
Any of what he says, any of what I've heard him saying. So, yeah, that doesn't make me neutral, but I'm a little more apathetic about it. Like, I don't really care.
Just wait till Deepak tells you his opinion about Ayurveda.
Oh, I've not heard that.
Even I haven't because he hasn't.
he hasn't. So
I think that if I ever met the man, we might actually agree on certain surface level points.
Yeah.
But I find that a whole lot of things that he presents as his advocacy for the Indic way of life or something is just purely subjective personal opinion. There is like
What is not purely subjective personal opinion if it's coming from a person who's making an opinion? I am not getting this particular criticism. Why is this a criticism?
the things he's talking about, if he managed to present a clear definition of them, like this is what the Indic way of life looks like. But one of my
That podcast was not about discussing an Indic way of life. If he ever does that, if Beer Biceps ever organizes a podcast, maybe Deepak and Rajesh Nandi both can come together. Okay, imagine those two people discussing Indic way of life, and we will have a clear discussion on Indic way of life. That was not the topic of Beer Biceps podcast. That was not the topic of the section you guys chose to discuss. It was about NRC mainly, and there he clearly mentioned, and it was mainly about whether BJP is a pro-Hindutva, pro-Hinduism party, or is it a distinctly anti-Muslim party or not. There, Deepak very clearly made the case that it's about policies, and not these three people, nor did anyone who has ever criticized this video has come up with counter arguments to say that, see, these are the policies which are distinctly in favor of Hindus and distinctly against Muslims, and therefore BJP is a Hindutva fascist party. Why didn't you guys bring up any points to claim that, yes, see, these are pro-Hindu policies? Because that's the criteria Deepak gave, that it has to be about policy. Now you are pretending that, yeah, he was vague about Indic way of life. अरे कहाँ discussion हुआ Indic way of life के बारे में?
My criticisms against something I saw of him some time ago was that he was saying ki decolonialize India. The idea that if you remove colonial influences, you'll be left with some pure Hindu thing is in itself very suspect, because Indian culture is not just Hindu, it's tribal,
Yes.
it's in large part Muslim, it's Parsi, it's Jewish, it's a whole lot of things, including
Now he's making an important point, which is an entirely gigantic long discussion, of course. Let's try to pick it apart to a little extent.
you'll be left with some pure Hindu thing.
Now, that pure Hindu thing, what is that? What was India's pure Hindu-ness before the word secular was added to the constitution in the 70s? Were we a pure Hindu thing before that? When has that pure Hindu thing ever happened? Do we have any historical backing to say that yes, at this point in history, this was a pure Hindu thing where non-Hindus, Muslims, Jews, Parsis were persecuted, etc. Or tribals who are apparently not Hindus according to him were persecuted. The Panchamas, the Panchama Jati were persecuted for not being a part of that very Hindu thing. Where is that? What are the policy positions? Anyone recommending something like that? Where are the scriptural backing for that? Where are any random fringe politician calling for things like that? Where is that? He was criticizing Amit Shah for making a speculative statement, right? This is like 100% speculation. You are just afraid of something that has never happened, something that's no one is even calling for. So that very Hindu thing that you are talking about is in fact a Hindu majority which is very accepting of people, where we don't have fights with any minorities, not even missionaries, unless they resort to street violence. Okay, that's the Hindu thing.
Is in itself very suspect, because Indian culture is not just Hindu, it's tribal.
Yes.
It's in large part Muslim.
No, Indian culture is Hindu, where these are small parts and they are all living in harmony mostly because it's a Hindu majority.
It's Parsi, it's Jewish, it's a whole lot of things, including Dravidian culture, which he's not a huge fan of. So just you
What the fuck is Dravidian culture? I did not know we were going to talk about this again.
Western influence, it does not automatically become purely Hindu. The civilization game is quite complicated,
Yes.
and I think he oversimplifies it to a great degree.
No.
I actually kind of agree with you, Vimoh. I was thinking what will happen if I meet him. I think I'll also end up having a good conversation with him, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. I agree.
Seems like a reasonable person who will be open to arguments.
Anyone who's saying, yeah, I'm a BJP supporter, I'm willing to criticize the BJP, is someone we can talk to.
Yeah, exactly. And that is appreciated.
To invite
Like,
him,
he said
no.
that he's nobody's cheerleader, and he did sort of criticize the BJP. But then, like, of course, he also excused them for a lot of things, like, extrajudicial killings and other things like,
Where?
CAA and NRC. Oh, what did they do? They do nothing.
Yes,
Like,
they
there is
didn't
no
do it.
data to prove that they are anti-minority. All of these things are also
Where is the
count
data?
as supporting the current establishment.
I would like to add one thing, which is that this is a Jay Deepak video, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it is on the Beer Biceps podcast, where the standards of conversation are so low that the guests don't even come with any preparation. I was wondering
That's
if there are other videos out there of him making a stronger case with data, actually, which he
Oh my god, guys. Deepak has made his entire case on CAA-NRC. That's one of the first reasons why Deepak went viral in the first place, which is his video with Upward. Aditya Dhar, or what Dhar his name is. He's a Kashmiri Hindu, as far as I remember. Go listen to that. Why are you listening to Beer Biceps podcast for a high level discussion? Ajeeb baat hai. That's your problem. You all chose this video. Beer Biceps is very obviously a very low level, entry level layman's discussion platform for beginners of any field to know certain things about that particular topic. And that is why people who follow politics to a large extent don't find any benefit in watching Beer Biceps podcast. Like, for example, his podcast with S. Shankar was almost a complete waste of time. There was nothing of significance discussed. On the other hand, on things like Tantra, where I have absolutely no clue about, I find it insanely beneficial. Whereas someone who knows a lot about Tantra, or even mid-level about Tantra, he will also think that, what's this discussion? Why is this even a thing to talk about? Okay, so Beer Biceps is it's his declared position almost, that yes, it's going to be for beginners and lay people and for young people. People studying in class 11, 12, 10, just first year, second year. It's for those people. This should not be a criticism. There should be advanced level podcasts and there should be beginner level podcasts.
he started out with. Beer Biceps podcast is a place where you can just get away with saying anything because you know he's not going to ask you anything back.
Oh, look at my YouTube feed. Okay, guys, this was a very, 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 very stupid podcast. So, how many people watching? Still 42 people watching. How long has the podcast been? How long has our live stream been? Okay, then let's see if any important questions have come up. After that, we'll go offline. Okay, Here to Learn is saying, I'm surprised to see Tagore being confused about Hindu being Brahmanism, as evident from his short story Durasha and novel Gora. It confuses me. Yeah, people who live for a long time will have different views and different points in their life. That's an interesting thing. It doesn't have to be good or bad. They just have different views that evolved. Humko paisa bhejo. Yes, Saint Dynasty continued. Okay, these idiots have no clue about Lebanon and what happened when Muslims became the majority, where what happened to the Christians there is... Okay, goddank. What they would argue is, I've spoken to countless leftists because, you know, I'm surrounded by leftists. Their argument is that, yes, we know that Muslims are very conservative, orthodox, but you don't need to worry about it. Because we have this beautiful thing called a secular constitution who is going to protect all Hindus. And even if, therefore, Muslims become a majority, which they are not going to anytime soon because they are just 15 to 18%, even if they become, there's no problem with anyone because the law will be followed to the letter. Our secular constitution will ensure every religion lives happily ever after, no matter which religion is the majority. That is their argument. By that logic, you could argue that yeah, then what's your problem with the Hindus being in majority? But they would then say that, yes, Hindus are in majority and a lot of them want to persecute, but it's us and the constitution who is protecting the non-Hindus here. In the same way, if Muslims become the majority, you will be protected because of us and the constitution. That would be their argument. Lakhon Sen crushed Khilji's force. Yes. Extrajudicial killing. Congress literally put cops into mosques and massacred 100 Muslims and hit them with iron fist in Moradabad. Yes, I don't know where this extrajudicial killing defense has started. Start posting this on their channels. After Lakhon Sen, Minaj. Okay, random history discussion is going on. Interesting. Indian culture is just Sanatan Dharma, keeping aside all the Abrahamic religions. Yes. This guy is vehemently anti-Hindu. Yes. Your blood pressure will increase. Yeah, the Dravidian culture really shocked me out of the blue. Even primary source by Umapati. Okay, how is Indian culture a wee bit Muslim? Because Muslims are here. Okay. They don't even read the comments, even though I was the only one commenting below their video. Denying Middle Eastern colonialism. Yes, Middle Eastern colonialism is denied by every academic in the world. Okay, they don't use the word colonialism for these people. Because there is such a thing called extractive colonialism, where people just extract the resource and leave the country. Then there is something very specific called settler colonialism. They blame white people for settler colonialism in North America, etc. Settler colonialism is exactly what has happened in India with Islamic invaders. Remember that I've spoken about this on my live stream in previous occasions as well. That there's a dialogue from Hrithik Roshan in Jodha Akbar, where Hrithik Roshan as Akbar suddenly says that, why are you talking like this? We are not luteras like like other people who have come to this country to just loot and leave. We have loved this place. We have settled down in this place. Arey, that is called settler colonialism. That is the literal definition of settler colonialism. And every academic denies this term for them. And even if their argument ever is that, yes, they are not really settler colonialists because they are the minority in this country. What about Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh? That's 100% settler colonialism in these countries. And every problem that arises out of settler colonialism, all that and more has happened in Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. Muslims be the colonizer. Yes, they are settler colonialists. Indian culture is Muslim, Christian, persecution. Bhai era pagol, are just English kotha bolo. Make reacting. Yeah. I really want to speak just in English or just in Hindi, but it just comes naturally to me. What can I do? I'm fluent in all these languages. I agree with J. Deepak. I'm not right or left wing. I'm a Hindu. I'm pro-Hindu, tribe first, including the dharmic and native faith systems of Bharat. The rest I do not care about. Sorry. Everything you described, that is the definition of right wing. That is leftist Minaj. Okay, left be like, how dare you keep an opinion other than Macol education system taught us? Yeah, he was repeatedly saying, he is just giving his personal opinion. अरे ओपिनियन ही तो देगा, ओपिनियन देगा, तुम काउंटर ओपिनियन दोगे, उसके बाद पता चलेगा कि ये सिर्फ ओपिनियन ही है, कुछ क्यों ऑब्जेक्टिव फैक्ट भी है. Jai Hind Dosto is saying, I think there is a video of JSD debating Yogendra Yadav. Sorry, started late. Okay, we are not going to start that today because lots of people have already left. Opinion ही नहीं होना चाहिए. Yes. It seems that they are also wingers and couldn't digest the fact that leftists are dumbasses. দাদা ব্রহ্মপুরাণের শিবা অন কাস্ট সিস্টেম ক্লিপটা কবে পোস্ট করছো? Hopefully by tonight or by tomorrow. Kushal Mehra's 1 month old person on Prakhar ke Pravachan. Oh yeah, I've reacted to all those I think. 1 month old, just last month. I don't remember I've reacted to that or not. Dada told you gave many of you viewers will come and they did. Yeah, thanks. I sent you this on Insta. Yes, you are to blame for this. Go capitalism. To be fair to party people, I have been to parties where most people were right. Bhai, where is this party Arnab Chakraborty? Guys, contact Arnab Chakraborty. He has been to right-winger parties. These people are outright disrespectful, yes. They say they're gonna make expose video on Anand Ranganathan being JSG's lapdog. When? When are they going to do it? This is going to be fun. Acknowledging of being a right-wing is more brave than acknowledgement of being a proud Hindu. Yeah, actually. Although it's probably similar in some cases. West Bengal government probably have pork slaughterhouses too. Generally they are left. Let's throw a Hindutva party. Oh yeah, yes. We will all get together and read the Rig Veda. Okay then. Thanks for joining the live stream, guys. Good night. This was fun. Hopefully I'll come live tomorrow as well. On Saturday, my dog is going to have an operation, one of my dogs. So pray for her. She's 12 years old. Any of you who do puja pat regularly, pray for her. Pray for her to Lord Pashupati. Thanks, guys. Good night.